The modern battlefield is no place for the faint-hearted. Armies have never had so much firepower. Millions of soldiers, billions of guns, all spitting lead.
Just missed the tank. I hate that.
But amongst the many, there's a lone band of warriors who only need one bullet, and they never miss.
We do not shoot to wound.
Get locked and loaded as we go back through generations of technology to find out how sniper rifles became the most accurate weapon on the battlefield. Today's sniper rifles are at the cutting edge of technology. The Barrett AS-50 is one of the best. Weighing just 27 pounds, it can be broken down in 3 minutes. But at distances out to 1.5 miles, this beast will slam through vehicles and body armor.
At the longer ranges, when you shoot that 50 cal, it's like a tornado hit you. It's a tremendous blast.
Designed to provide Navy SEALs with accurate rapid fire at extended ranges, the AS-50 is semi-automatic, mounts the latest scopes, and has a detachable buttstock with a recoil-reducing butt pad. The result? A weapon of ultimate lethality. Now, weaponology will unlock its family tree, going back through generations of technology to reveal how scopes, bullets, tactics, camouflage, and mechanisms evolved into one of the most accurate weapons on the planet, the AS-50 sniper rifle. 400 years ago, sniping didn't exist. Weapons accurate enough to target a man didn't exist. And in America, accurate shooting meant grabbing a bow and arrow to take down a buffalo. But in the early 1700s, settlers arrived, and they brought their guns along for the ride. Most of them owned muskets, inaccurate, clumsy weapons. But the German immigrants had something a whole lot better.
And they brought with them a short weapon called a Jaeger, or we know it today as the rifle.
Rifling was new in firearms. A spiral groove was cut into the barrel, forcing the bullet to twist out of the bore. Spinning through the air, the bullet would maintain greater gyroscopic stability. It was a massive evolution in accuracy and gave firearms a whole new name: rifles.
These rifles are real accurate. They would go out to 300 yards to kill a deer or an Indian if required.
Over the years, the Jaeger got Americanized and became known as the Pennsylvania or Kentucky rifle. The accuracy of rifles made them different to muskets, the dominant battlefield firearm for over 200 years.
300-yard shots with rifles to hit a human figure were not uncommon at all. Beyond 50, 60, 70 yards with a musket, you couldn't hit anything. They believed in volley fire. We all move at once, we level all the weapons, and when the sergeant says fire, everybody squeezed the trigger. They really didn't aim much. The rifleman was the other way.
In the Revolutionary War, for the first time, skilled hunters armed with rifles began proving that individual aimed fire might actually be more effective.
So we had these frontiersmen riflemen, and they formed up and were brought in as rifle units, companies, the most famous of which was Morgan's Riflemen.
These sharpshooting units represented a seismic shift in battlefield strategy. Unlike the regular units moving in rigid squares and firing in volleys, Morgan's Riflemen fought in small teams, choosing individual targets, and fired their weapons from distance.
The Kentucky rifle was the ideal guerrilla weapon of its day. Shoot, boot.
Was it effective? It sure was. In the Revolutionary War, there was a general named Simon Fraser, and he was stirring up the men, and he was pushing the American left back. So Colonel Morgan got his best sniper. His name was Timothy Murphy. And he told Murphy, get the general on the gray horse.
With muskets, taking out enemy commanders from distance had never been possible. But rifles were about to change all that. Murphy was now up a tree, taking aim on an English general from 300 yards.
On the first shot, it was more of a ranging shot. The second shot, he thought the general flinched a little as if a ball had passed close to him. The third shot, he hit him right in the belly. General Simon Fraser had had a huge breakfast, and of course, in the guts, he had no chance at all.
The British defeat at Saratoga was a turning point in the war. Timothy Murphy had just proven the first and most important law of sniping.
It's not how many a sniper shoots, it's who he shoots.
In the 20th century, the idea that one bullet can change history came back with a vengeance. World War II. The one man everyone wants to see dead? Adolf Hitler. What if a sniper could take him down? What then? Incredibly, Hitler was targeted by snipers on 2 occasions, each attempt laying down another law of sniping. The first, if you miss, men die.
Hitler would have been aware that in the First World War he sustained an injury himself and a close friend was killed by a sniper's bullet. And he always said that if events had happened differently in October 1916 and the sniper had fired 6 inches to the right, it would have been Hitler who had been killed rather than his best friend.
It was probably the costliest miss in history. Millions dead. But maybe where one sniper had missed, another could succeed. Time for a second attempt on the Fuhrer. And the second law of sniping. Patience is a virtue. In 1944, the British Special Operations Executive developed Operation Foxley, a plan to drop a 2-man sniper team into Germany. Infiltrating Hitler's Berchtesgaden retreat, they would pose as German soldiers.
First thing you'd want to do is get a vantage point where with your binoculars and everything, you could observe the targeted person reaching an area where they were a good target, where you could make a shot.
I would say he'd have to have got within about 300 yards and taken him out through the skull or the heart.
The real game has to be played involving patience and the sitting and waiting and boredom of keeping alert until this target would finally appear. You've got to know your distances, you've got to know the wind and the sunlight. You've only got one shot, you've only got one chance.
Patience. Snipers have it. And so did the Allies. The trigger was never pulled on Hitler. Allied military planners decided that Hitler would bring about the downfall of Germany faster than they could. Less than 20 years later, Lee Harvey Oswald did pull the trigger on a world leader, and his target, JFK, inherited the whirlwind. The former Marine took down the leader of the free world with an incredible headshot at distance. The rifle he used was an Italian Carcano. A cheap bolt action, described by many as the least accurate infantry rifle of World War II, had just changed the world.